Hello, it's Ruby, and today I'm going to be talking to you all about breaks, and namely why I don't take conventional breaks. One thing that lots of people have commented on when it comes to my long study days, and really any study with me which I post, is that I don't take breaks. I don't take conventional breaks. During my lunch break, I'll usually bring my lunch up to my desk instead of, sitting down watching something. And today I wanted to explain to you why I do this and how it can actually help with productivity. Now, to do this, I'm going to distinguish between two types of breaks, the second of which is a kind that I do take. First of all, we've got conventional breaks. These are the kinds of breaks that I think are associated mostly with study sessions. So for example, you might watch a film or a TV show in one of your breaks. You might decide to do some baking, you might decide to see a friend. All of these conventional breaks are based in enjoyment. They're based in things that you really enjoy to do. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. It's good that we do things that we love to do, especially if we are spending a lot of our time working. But I think it's problematic for us to frame these things within study breaks, because it's not a study break, it's use of free time. And I think that's a really important distinction to make. The issue with these kinds of breaks is that we tend to treat them like rewards.
You know what? If I finish this essay, I will let myself watch an episode of Anne with an E in my lunch break. That will definitely motivate me to keep on working. This will definitely motivate you in the short term, but in the long term, it can have really disastrous effects for your motivation towards your studies. This is something I speak about more in the rewards video, so go check that out if you want to know more of the reasoning behind this. But most significantly, it boils down to something called the Sawyer effect. Now, if you're familiar with Tom Sawyer, then you will know that he famously is painting a fence and Huckleberry Finn comes over and taunts him for having to spend his time whitewashing this fence. Now, instead of telling him that he doesn't enjoy painting the fence, Tom Sawyer tells Huckleberry Finn that he is having a dandy of a time, that he loves painting a fence. And so even though he thinks of it as work, he convinces Huckleberry Finn that it is play. And basically by doing so, he's able to convince Huckleberry Finn to paint the fence for him. The really interesting thing here is separating work and play. So Tom Sawyer is treating painting the fence as work. However, he convinces his friends that it is play. Now, work is typically associated with something bad. Play is something good. So if something's work, we are automatically not going to want to do it to the same degree, whereas if something's play, we will want to do it. And as soon as we implement a reward like watching Anne with an E into our study sessions as a study break, we emphasize the fact that television is play, and thus, in contrast, we solidify the fact that studying is work. And since we think that play is better than work, the issue then becomes that we distance ourselves from work and we enjoy it less. My main issue with using breaks is that we tend to use them as rewards. Instead, we want to look to this other kind of break, which are productive breaks. The best way to frame this is through the analogy of sharpening your axe, which I think is an analogy that lots of people have heard of, but I'm going to just run it through it really briefly. So the idea here is that if you are a wood chopper, a wood cutter, what are they called? If you cut trees down, you might spend hours cutting away with your axe, but if it's blunt, the tree isn't going to come down. It's going to take you ages and ages and ages to cut through the tree. However, if you take just a minute to step back, sharpen your saw, and then get back to work, you are going to be more productive and you're going to get that tree cut down much more quickly. This is the way that we want to treat breaks. Not as a reward, but it is a way to refuel and replenish, thus become more productive in the studying that we're doing. So if we want to give our brain or our body a break, a rest, that's okay, but we need to make sure that it's benefiting the rest of our study session. So I don't take any recreational breaks, but I do take these productive breaks. But I only take them when I really need them. Because I find that if I schedule breaks into my study planner, my timetable, then I tend to treat them more as rewards as opposed to replenishing breaks.
I will take a break when I need a break, when my body needs it, when my mind needs it, and no other time. I'm not going to take a break just for the sake of doing it. One of the main reasons for this, actually, a break can also interrupt your sense of flow. If you're in the mode already, if you're in the mood for studying, why should we take those 5 minutes out to go sharpen it?
Time for my break. Now, the really problematic thing about a scheduled break is that it can interrupt your sense of flow, because you could be working really, really productively and you might not need a break to recharge. And if we take a break when we're in this state of flow, we could find ourselves coming back, not with our axe sharpened, but instead find ourselves struggling to get back into that state of flow.
In lots of those study sessions that I've done, I have been in a state of flow, which I consider a form of play because it's something that I enjoy. I love that state of flow. Whenever we're in that state of flow, it is an enjoyable state because we feel motivated. So, how do we use breaks? What should we do during these recharging breaks, which you should try to take? Obviously, I listen to my body and my mind for when I take them, but I would say on average I probably take them once every hour, once every 2 hours.
So breaks shouldn't be about enjoyment, they should be about fulfillment. Ask yourself, how is this break going to help you to fulfill your task when you get back? How is it going to sharpen your saw? Your axe? Oh, thus some good examples are getting some food, getting some tea, doing some exercise, and get some fresh air. So if you're going to take a longer break, you don't want to do something which is going to make you feel sluggish afterwards. And in The Motivation Myth, Jeff Sadin outlines the benefits of having a break where your brain is still active. So where your brain is still thinking as opposed to just consuming material like watching something. And thus here are some examples of things that you can do in a slightly longer second type of break. You can read. Do a crossword. You could do some journaling. Or write out lists of your life goals, things that you want to do and achieve. That always gets me so motivated to keep on studying when I get back. It can be really useful to keep a list of the things that sharpen your axe so that when you come to a study break, you can do one of these things which refreshes you and keeps your brain active and working. Then, when you've finished with your task, the thing that you wanted to get done that day, you can do something which is recreational. You can actually use some free time. And the amazing thing about delaying this until after you finish your task is that when you come to do it, you don't feel any guilt. You won't end up procrastinating, and thus you can really make the most of your free time as opposed to drawing out the length of time it takes you to complete a task and always having it on your mind. I just think it's better for self-care more generally if we can have some time where we can totally switch off from the things that we need to get done. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to watch the next episode of Anne with an E because I finished all of my work for today.
I could use someone on my side. This is quite the homestead you have here.